for me, it was hard. Like when I first started hearing that the Supreme Court agreed to take up this case, it was early in the year when they announced it, and there were some blurbs like in the media, but I heard about it on social media, and it made me dig into what to look into it, because honestly, like, these are things that I don't understand, right? And I was just struck, and was like, is this really happening? For me personally, that year, like, we were struggling with and facing homelessness, and how it directly, personally felt for me was we're about to enter a fight for our very human right to even exist in this nation. And that the reason why these attacks are happening, we need to understand that this Supreme Court taking up this case and ruling in favor of Grants Pass, there was a bipartisan effort by people in power, and even like led by folks like Newsom, the governor in California, to get the Supreme Court to rule in favor of Grants Pass against the people they are elected to protect. Like, that's insane. And so the National Union of the Homeless, as people who are directly impacted by this front of struggle and are organizing on the front lines across this nation, like, we needed to get our narrative out there. And there was a grouping of us that worked collectively to kind of create this statement/article that's going to be shared there in the chat. Our viewpoint at that time, right? And what we learned by studying collectively together what this all means, we learned about the big organization and big money behind this, getting this really passed. And there was 3 justices that voted against that, right? The rest of them voted in favor of Grants Pass. But it was enough for that ruling to basically, and what it means is unhoused folks are no longer protected under the Constitution from this cruel and unusual punishment. And so we're like, they opened up the floodgates to criminalize homelessness across the board. This is literally, we're talking, if you are outside, you're unhoused, you need a blanket to try to stay warm in the freezing cold, you could be criminalized. You could be ticketed, you could be jailed, this is literally beyond your control. We know the system creates homelessness. And so I encourage you all to read the post that we put together. There's a lot of information in that. But this is what inspired me to like want to do this people's hearing. Like, okay, they want to put us on trial? No, we need to put them on trial for their policy violence against us, for their policy murder against us. And so now I'm going to read this little blurb here about Article 25 out of the Declaration of Human Rights. And then I'm going to start to introduce the witnesses and testifiers that kind of speak to this particular article. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and of his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care, and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond his control. Motherhood and childhood are entitled to special care and assistance. All children shall enjoy the same protection. So that's apart from Article 25. And with that, and I think there's going to be a link shared in that you can read the different articles and see a little bit more. But as Kristen shared, kind of the evolution it has taken since then. And with that, we're now going to get into the testimonies. And I'm going to just remind that when these folks, these witnesses are going to be sharing their testimonies, they're going to get into the plight, fight, and insight for this hearing that's going to show that we only get what we're organized to take, or as Willie Baptist says, freedom ain't free.